Good evening, a warm welcome to you all. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Do write in the chat your name, where you're from. Oh, I see names there. And let me know where you're from, if you're a salon owner, and where are you watching us from this evening? I can see some familiar friends here. Oksana, great to see you here. Welcome, Steve, Heather, Laurie. We've got Star in the house. Kim, welcome. Kitty. Heather, Carmen, and the beat goes on, Sharon, and I have two very special guests with me this evening. So our subject tonight, let's dive straight into it, shall we? Because we've got lots of good things to go over. I've got lots of creations all the way around me to share with you and hopefully inspire you this evening. Growth is the only guarantee that tomorrow is going to be better. And I think that's really a pretty powerful statement, isn't it? Your growth is the only guarantee that tomorrow is going to be better. And they say that one of the things that separates happy people from less happy people, successful people from less successful people, is the ability to keep progressing, keep learning, keep exploring. So I appreciate you being here tonight. I know you could be at home right now watching Netflix or something like that. So thanks for being here, okay? Questions you have, please fire away as we go on this great journey together. We're going to tonight talk about ageless elegance, choosing the perfect hairstyle at every age of life and what that means for you. So I feel very qualified to talk about this tonight because guess what? I'm old. And I think I've had every ridiculous hairstyle going, and I've been through so many generations of different looks. And I'm very sensitive to trying to feel fresh, but be age appropriate. So that to me is really important. But before we get into tonight, I just wanted to share something with you that's super special because I know I've got some friends here. There is a very amazing organization in the United Kingdom called the British Fellowship. And the British Fellowship is a pretty special thing. Anyway, today I just received this from the British Fellowship and I'm an honorary lifetime member now. And it's super, super exciting because Vidal Sassoon, Trevor Sorby, Annie Humphreys and Errol Douglas are like the hot shots there. And I'm so fortunate. I've worked with them all. And they've all been my hair heroes. I've made documentaries on Vidal, on Trevor, and Errol Douglas. So, and Annie and I used to travel all over the world. And for any raving colorists here, you'll know that Annie was the queen of the original ombre, balayage, and all the different crazy things. And I traveled the world with that amazing lady. So I'm super excited. I've been waving the British flag around the world in hairdressing for over 40 years. So they've just given me an honorary. So that's really exciting. So isn't that nice? There we go. That's got nothing to do with this evening other than we're looking at beauty at every single age. So let's look into our subject a little bit more deeply. There are, as we get older, two different types of face shapes that we have to play with. And when we're looking at these face shapes, we've got the one that is the volume in the lower part of the face, and the face starts to collapse down in the jowl area. Or we have that client who's much more slender and more narrow, and that client can very easily become more gaunt, sunken. So we have, oh, this is such a great subject tonight, isn't it? The reality is we're either going to sink or we're going to sag. Unless you've got a really good doctor, right? And so you can plump yourself up. So my friend in England said, Viv, she says, I don't know why you worry so much about your face. She said, all you need to do is sit on the couch and eat lots of potato chips. She said, it'll just fatten up your face and you'll be good to go. And it's like, no, but it doesn't always work that way. The fat kind of goes somewhere else, right? So how many of you can relate to that? And thank you, Kitty, for your kind wishes there. Hi, Rocky, good to see you. And Anna, thank you so much. Phyllis, thank you, thank you. So we're looking at the face and we're looking at this lovely progression as we go through. So obviously what works in our youth does not start to work as we start to mature. And there are some very important things to be aware of so that each of your guests is age appropriate. Sometimes what we start to see is a young girl who's got a cool little haircut and she's really rocking it. And then next to her is grandma, who's got a kind of a version of it, and it's just not working because it hasn't been adapted to the change in her face and the change in her neck, and sometimes the change in her posture. So we're going to talk about that this evening. Before we go there, I just want to talk to you also about something that is the other side of this. So I decided to create a collection which is called Glam Grunge. And in this collection here, what you can see is that I've created some amazing texture, and this works for your youth. This works for the youth because it's got the edge to it. It's sleek around the face. It's got a little bit of a kick. It's an edgy hairstyle. This next one here works for our younger clients because it's a little disheveled, a little bit undone. But this hairstyle, when it's done mindfully, when the weight in the right place, can transcend right the way through to a very mature client because of where the volume sits in the hairstyle. So obviously, the more undone it is, the more youthful, the more done up, the more classic it would certainly become. But when we look at hairstyles that are bi-level, the mullet, and we're looking at volume on the top of the head and a skinny disheveled, as our clients get older, this kind of edginess becomes harder and harder to wear unless your client has the personality to carry a costumed effect. And she's quite theatrical. So for example, years ago, I worked with Betsy Johnson on her fashion show, and she is the most flamboyant, amazing lady. And at the time, she had tons of hair extensions in her head, and they were all bright colors. And I remember saying to Betsy, what do you put on your hair to clean it? She said, Windex. You put Windex on your hair? She said, yeah. And I was thinking about my big fat Greek wedding. Remember when he put Windex on everything? It was the cure to everything. So there she is. She's putting Windex on her hair. And it's like, wow, that's so cool. And it was obviously like a plastic type of fiber, whatever the fiber is. It certainly was not hair. But she was so flamboyant, such a cartoon character that she could take that edginess. So absolutely, if we've got a client that is of that nature, then surely, you can do whatever you want because the sky's the limit. But as our clients start to mature, the hair coming down around the face becomes harder and harder for us to work with. So what do I know about this? What I know is that when we're looking at this, there's something very important to understand. When we're designing to our clients, and we see with a lot of mature clients, they're wearing longer hair, which is fine if, number one, they've got amazing hair, regardless of your age. When the hair starts to go beyond the shoulders here, is this hair that's older still spectacular? And does she look great from the front? And when the hair is here in the back, does she look great from the back? Very often our clients see a hairstyle where in a photograph, everything from the back is brought forward, and they just presume that is how their hair is going to look, not realizing, yeah, well, okay, but there's nothing here in the back, sweetie, right? I remember doing haircuts like this. I would do like a strong line here so it looked good in the back, and then leave these pigtails in the front. It looked completely ridiculous. It was such a bad idea. Right, let's talk about this. When the hair hits the collarbone here, this is your cutoff point for changing face shape. So you're just kissing the shoulders. So anything above the collarbone up impacts the shape of the face. Anything that is collarbone down impacts body type. So obviously, when you have a client who is a banana and she's long and lean and her hair comes down long, 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 it can elongate her, which can be gorgeous, or she can look too long. When you have a client that is a pear, well, a pear would be like this, wouldn't it? A pear would be bigger through here, this shape. Obviously, when you're doing a pear, you want the back of this hairstyle to be abstract and probably higher here and lower here. You certainly don't want a square line in the back for a pear or a apple body type, because that strong line emphasizes width. And what those two body types need is balance. And actually, they need some elongation in the torso, and they don't want anything that's going to box them in. So irregular and undone and quite layered through actually is better. The heavier and the chunkier, it actually is worse. So I just want you to remember that when you are designing to your mature clients, you're running into a risk when you go beyond this point from a appropriateness, the quality and the shine of the hair, how shiny, how luxurious, how stunning is the color, how thick is the hair. So really, for me, when I'm working on anyone who wants to have longer hair, it's like, okay, well, it's either a hair extension, a wig, or we've got to get your hair in such spectacular condition and color in order for you to go past this point, because now we're changing body type. So anytime I'm doing a consultation, I always design into the mirror, and I will always have my client, first of all, stand this way, her back to the mirror, and she's holding a mirror here so she can see her reflection. And we have a conversation about where lines should be. And we have that whole kind of like chit chat. So I'm not looking at her, I'm looking at her reflection in the mirror. And I tell you what, it's a very, very, very powerful thing to do. So does that make sense to you guys? Just kind of give me a comment there and just let me know. So when we're looking at the elongation here and the facial framing, we've got to have the ability for that hair to be magnificent for it to work. Otherwise, it's a poor version of someone with fabulous hair. When we're looking at these kind of textures, again, they're more youthful, they're more done because they're closing the face and they are more youthful. When we look at something like this, we've got a nice choppy haircut, it's very, very edgy. And I always say to myself, right, if a client showed me this picture, would I be able to recreate this hairstyle? So tonight we've got some special guests. So let me just bring in our guests, and then we will get into some actual hair demonstration. So I'm going to bring in now, let me just come and sort myself out. I have Kelly here, and here's fabulous Kelly. Hi, Kelly, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. And we've got Lindsay here. And I've had the honor of working with both of these fabulous ladies. So before we get deeper into the presentation and I get into the hair demonstration, Lindsay, for you, you've been through the consultation a lot in your journey, and you've seen some major transformations. What has it meant to you personally, and how has it changed the business in the salon?
Well, I am a lot busier behind my chair, and I was able to raise my prices. I also feel more confident knowing that I have the tools to be able to put the right haircut on the right person.
Yes.
And I've been able to teach that to my team. So our numbers at the salon are up like 150% from last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, we're like way busier.
Well, that's amazing. Well, congratulations. Yeah. Congratulations. Kelly, we had a fun in a moment. I'm going to show everybody the photograph of your work. We had a fun time in New York working on a photo shoot together. We did we did a photographic workshop. What was your biggest aha in working together? You had the online experience, and then you had the live experience. So she had a lovely fusion of both.
Yeah. So no, the photo shoot workshop was amazing because it literally took you from the very beginning and the thought process and the vision, the creativity process, and all the way into the very end. So you actually got to do like a live photo shoot, see everything come to life. And it was an amazing experience. There was so much to learn, so much more than I knew. So being able to work with Vivienne on that aspect of all of those, the whole entire process was just like amazing. It was a great, great experience. And I mean, she's like magical. So anything you can learn from her is awesome. I mean, it was a great experience.
I had an amazing time, and in a moment I'm going to show you some of these young ladies' amazing work. But you know, it's a journey, isn't it, as we go through? And sometimes, you know, if you want to build your brand, it can only happen by having great photographs of your work. Remember, your work that you put out there is your voice, and your voice is so important. So to develop it is a critical thing. So very often, people are saying, well, but why should I listen to Viv? There's so many people out there. And I've been fortunate to have worked with some of the most amazing hairdressers in the world, who have been my teachers, my mentor. And what I love to do is go from the studio environment, where is the ultimate of the creative process, take these ideas into reality and be able to play around with textures and shapes and think about how can I create beauty, regardless of whether it's hair going up, hair coming down, gorgeous color. It's always about the creative process and knowing that fashion moves in a circle. Not always is fashion going to stand still. In fact, it doesn't. So I love to be able to take different aspects of our craft, whether it's backcombing, setting, sleek hair, textured hair, geometric, working with hair pieces, working with hair extensions, whatever it takes to make a beautiful image. For me, that's what it's all about. And now that I can help hairdressers actually learn the art of taking a great photograph, learn what that is and building the brand and increasing the value behind the chair, that is very, very exciting to me. And working with, obviously some gorgeous models and being creative, and then saying, okay, so now how do I take that creativity and how do I make it work for everyday work? So that's the world that I live in. And I want to now just dive into looking at some of Lindsay and Kelly's work before we get deeper into our subject tonight. So as we're looking at their work, this is the beautiful image that Kelly did on her photo shoot. And she took this little top piece and she did some really cool color. And then we actually put a little tiny weft over the top, which I thought was awesome. And then Lindsay, when she was here doing a workshop with me, I just think this is so spectacular. She poured her heart and soul into this method and created this incredible basket weave and this beautiful shape. And it was really so impressive. And I'm so proud of both of these amazing ladies. And what it did was it just boosted their creativity. So this is a testimony from Colette. She says, my business exploded. Statistically, the average salon retains 35% of their clients. I can boast that I have an average of 85% retention within the last year. Not only did I grow my business 40%, but the people are coming back, all due to my education from the hair designer program. Has been life-changing and statistics don't lie. So let's dive into the great teach tonight and look at what we're going to go over. The first thing, whether it is hair up, whether it's color, a perm, hair extensions, or a haircut, is my design map. And when I'm mapping out a hairstyle, I'm looking strategically at where the different weight points are going to be, where the length is going to be, and the why. And I always take into consideration what is that face shape and what is the age of that client. When I'm looking at my client, my why is more important than my how. My why is about personality, lifestyle, age, fashion, sensuality of the look, the bone structure, how I measure the face, how I create the proportion. Technique, very last thing I think about. What I have noticed, and I'm just going to ask Lindsay and Kelly about what they think here in terms of, in the past for you, especially for Lindsay, because she's been through a lot of my training, in the past, did you just jump into your technique and has your strategy really changed?
Yeah, there's a lot more thought put into knowing exactly what I'm doing before I go into it, and also communicating with the guest exactly what I'm doing before we start doing anything.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And Kelly, now that you did your first professional photo shoot and you were also taught by the photographer how to take better pictures with your phone, are you now seeing your guests differently because your eye was actually open and expanded during that whole photo shoot workshop?
we talked about the three wheels of fashion a lot, and now I look at them and I'm like, okay, well, she's sassy, or that's not going to work. Like, you definitely put those three wheels of fashion behind the chair, and you do look at each client in a different way and break down more of their personality and their whole entire image before you just attack the haircut with a technique. So yeah, it's definitely given me a different method on doing my consultations, and it's been really helpful.
And how have your clients been responding to that shift?
They've all actually have been, none of them have really said much. So, I've been asking them a little bit more questions on, like, a lot of my clients, I know their personality really well. So I'm like, for example, the other day I had a client come in and she wanted just like a blunt shoulder length bob. And I was like, are you sure about that? Because that really doesn't fit your personality. And she's like, yeah, you're right. I need something sassy. So she walked out of there with a little bit sassier of a haircut. So I think, like, us paying attention as stylists to their personalities and knowing them, I think it's exciting for them to know that we're paying attention and want to give them the best look for themselves.
Absolutely. Now, this is the most alarming statistic. 97% of hairdressers say they give a consultation, and only 7% of consumers say that they receive that consultation, which is quite shocking, really, don't you think? So what I do when I'm doing my training, and I train people on this now very mindfully, I realize there are three processes. And I really want you to think about this. And what I also want you to do tonight is take notes. I want you to take notes on things that really touch your heart and your mind. I really want you to do that. But I want you to do one more thing beyond that. I want you to write down things that I'm speaking to that you think are helpful, but I want you to then write down how you can use it. Do you know, out of tonight's presentation, I'm going to hit you with information that I hope will be transformative, which makes it very good information. But if you don't apply or write down what I'm saying, by the end of the week, only 5% of what I'm saying right now you'll have retained. Yes, it's being recorded. Take notes tonight. Take notes on what I'm saying, and then the next thing I'm going to challenge you to do, share this information with somebody else. Because when you teach it to somebody else, it elevates your experience and it commits it more to your memory. So we're going to now take a little bit of a deeper dive, and then we're going to get into some actual touching of the hair. So the rational mind is the logical mind. Logically looking at that client, that intake of who is she, her age, her lifestyle, personality, how does she walk in? As Kelly said, a client thinking, oh, I think I'll have a bob. And then Kelly having the courage and the vision and the awareness to say, I think that it's going to make, it won't fit the personality, right? That's an awareness, which I greatly respect and appreciate. So bravo, Kelly. So there's that rational mind of the intake of the information. But then there's the gut feeling. That gut feeling when you go, oh my gosh, I think it's going too short. Oh my gosh, I just think I cut the left side longer than the right. That means I'm going to do 2 haircuts here and I'm going to run behind. Or at the backwash is the brilliant one, isn't it? When you're rinsing out the color and you have this gut feeling before you even look, something went horribly wrong. Yeah. So gut feeling is that primal gut instinct, which is actually warning you of danger. And it's an incredible fear-based energy, which is good to be aware of, but it's not good to live in. If you live in gut feeling, it's called anxiety and stress. So to have it for a moment, to grab your attention, go, whoa, 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 stop, step back, put the tools down, you didn't do a good consultation, or whatever that stop may be, it's your gut feeling saying, stop. How many of you really listen to your gut feeling? How many of you? Now, there may be some of you here that are very analytical. You like your systems, you like to be very organized, and that's fantastic. So you'll live more in the rational mind. But that gut feeling can come through and you could say to yourself, you know what? I knew I shouldn't have done that. How many of you have had that experience, right? So then there's the other aspect of this, intuition. Your intuition's your inspiration. Your intuition is that sense of just knowing. You get inspired. Now, let's get real. Not everyone inspires us, right? Sometimes it's a bit of a stretch. And I love Anna. So she's been putting some really great comments in there about Trevor Sorby. And I'm just going back to the feed here. Oh, you're an educator in Melbourne, Australia. So good morning to you, Anna. Good morning. So that intuitive part. So ultimately, a great hairdresser has to have all three. The rational. She is 65 years old. She has 3 chins. If I cut her hair too short, she's going to look like she's going to join the military. That's rational thinking, right? Gut feeling says, don't do that. Don't do that. Intuition is going to say, well, maybe we can just soften up the whole thing and make it pretty. I don't know, whatever. You know what I'm saying, right? So when we're looking at this, we've got to really pay great attention. So guys, what do you see when you look at these 2 lovely ladies? Now, I know they're holding a glass of wine and I know that they're looking at nice scenery. What do you see regarding their hair? Just pop into the chat. What do you see? And I just am curious to know what the first thing is that comes up for you. And I'm just going to look at the chat for a moment. Oh, Anna's saying, my favorite clients are the women over 50. They're fashion forward and they can afford to have their hair colored and are willing to pay for a good haircut. I agree. It's really wonderful. Really wonderful. Thank you, Anna. Tina says a fried mess. Steve says a big old mess. Laurie, a mess. Yes. So just imagine the client comes into the salon, right? Oh, I'd love that nice frizzy hairstyle, right? I love a bit of frizz. Give me that. I want to keep my hair nice and long so I can get more frizz. I don't want to cut my hair too short. It's got to be long, like my 16-year-old granddaughter. I want it long. I want to feel young, but I've turned into a fuzzball, right? Nasty old fuzzball. So I bet when she left the salon, it looked quite nice. So my question is, if someone's going to come to me like this, I'm going to say, number one, how do we make the color of your hair spectacular? And do you have the budget to maintain it? Will you go into a home care program? Will you come in X amount of time for a glaze or whatever to really work on the condition? Or is the conversation, we need to do a keratin treatment, or maybe we need to do a perm on very large rollers to change that fuzz into something else. Maybe we should put some layers in there and work with the texture, right? Or, madam, you really should go into a cute little pixie haircut and let's do something really cute with some pretty little color around your face. Does it have to look like that? Or it will look amazing when you leave the salon today because I'm going to give you a killer blow dry. But for the rest of the time, you will look like a tired, old, frizzy fuzzball. Which reminds me, I need to buy some Brillo pads for my oven. That was cruel, wasn't it? That was cruel. She could have a haircut like me. That would be cute, right? Anyway, there's a lot of that walking around, let me tell you, and it's global. So how have we trained our clients? Are we training our clients at a certain age where they lose their luster and their shine? They need to be in a very intense hair conditioning training program, a conditioning program so that their hair looks good all the time. How are we training them? Are we training them in a great consultation? Are we training them about beauty at their age? Are we talking to them about how we can lift their jawline? How are we training them? Or are we just going, yeah, all right, just stick the same old hairstyle on everybody? We're responsible for training our clients consciously, even subconsciously, we're training them. So my question to you, this is worth taking a note now, my friends. We've moved on from frizzy hair. I want you to write down for yourself, how have I trained my clients? I've trained them to be on time. I've trained them. How have you trained them? Or you're thinking, you know what? What's the thing I complain about the most with my clients? And if I could change that, that would be pretty amazing. So that's a training question, right? So what works on a younger client does not always work on an older client, right? So we're just looking at back of hair. We've got a lovely young girl here with great movement and so on. And I picked this because the hair colors are quite similar, and yet the story is really quite remarkable. Clearly, old lady hair, I'm saying it affectionately, no shape, and it really is totally inappropriate. So now let's look at this, the aging process. So when we're looking at the aging process, we're looking at either a face that's full, that's going to sag, or a face that's thin, that's going to sink. And we're looking at that. What we have is obviously the importance of the front, but for some of our clients, the profile becomes more of a big concern than the front on shot. So here, when we're looking at these two gorgeous, gorgeous ladies, you can see they have softness. They have pretty little layered haircuts. There are no hard lines in these hairstyles. They're soft, they're blow dried really beautifully, and they are very well balanced for the face. Very, very well balanced. I'm sure you all can appreciate that. Here, when we're looking at these lovely, lovely ladies, lovely little layered haircut, lots of movement, lots of texture. Again, they're young looking haircuts, but they're appropriate for the age that they are. And so we've got something that's amazing, but these hairstyles have to be blow dried to look like that. So again, we get into maintenance. It could look amazing when you've blow dried, but do they have the skill and the ability? Because these, when they're not blow dried, do not look as pretty. So that's where your conversation about maintenance at home is huge. So I know like with my hair's got a natural curl, but I do many things to my hair to make it look like this. So you either like it or you don't, but this is it. So when my hair was longer, it looked great when I was in the salon, but to be perfectly honest, it was so much work to blow dry it. And yeah, I can blow dry my hair clearly, but it was blow dry reliant. The haircut only worked when it was blow dried. So the conversation is, what can you do that is as close to natural? And where is the hair happiest in its natural state when it's moving along? So when we look here at this little shape, I'm going to bring my little girl in. Am I bringing her in? Yeah, I'm going to bring her in. Yes, I am. Right. Right. So when I'm looking at something where I've got the difference between youth and this little image here, you can see this haircut is very similar to Jane Fonda's haircut in terms of like how it's layered through. And this is the mannequin that you're looking at here. This would be a longer version. So while this can work on a young girl and this can work on a young girl, this is the haircut here. On this side here, it's just raw. I've just left it to be raw, to be a little stringy. It's very textured, it's very wispy in its effect. It's very raw. On this side here, I went through it with the curling iron and I actually started to move it out. So I just wanted to show you, and this is what I'm going to do tonight. I wanted to show you what we have when we get a piece of paper. Okay. What we have when we're coming through, I should get you a blank piece of paper, shouldn't I? Not the British Fellowship. Oh, my diploma, my little thing's getting messed up. Right, here we go. Got a plain piece of paper. When we're looking at this side here, this is our kind of youthful, edgy thing. We can collapse around the face. But when we're looking here on this side, we want to have something that's going to be a lot working better for that mature client. So when I come through here with this style and I look at, for my mature lady, number one, I'm going to look at where is my softness going to be? Number two, I need to lift. So if you look on this side, it's more going down. On this side, because of how I've moved with the hair, in this upward motion, when I came through here, I just simply took my curling iron and I literally just came in and went through this way and just gave a bit of a bend at the end there and threw my comb on the floor. Ooh. One day I'm going to bend down and I won't get back up. So as I'm going to come through here, I'm just going to mold this around. Now, this is the thing. When you are designing something for one of your mature clients, you need to style and set and work with the hair simultaneously. So you want to be able to kind of just create the movement in there so that you create the softness. So number one, I said to you, I look at face shape. With a more mature client, you've got to put that softness in there. I believe that's very, very important. Now, obviously, as I said, there's that client that's edgy, there's that client who is more costumed, and they're a character, right? But when you're looking at your more mature client, the more you kind of texture this out and lift that up, and then start coming in either with some wax or some pomade, or just even come in with your hairspray, as you start to lift it up, you do want to create some valleys and peaks so that it's undone and she doesn't look like Madame Helmet Head. So on this side here, I left it raw. This is youthful. On this side here, I'm now taking exactly the same haircut, and by finishing it, by giving it that bend and that movement, I'm lifting. So this is what's very important on a hairstyle like this, is sitting it in here. So like even with my own hair, I'm smaller in here and my volume is there. So it's that angle. It lifts up. It's not a box. When you do a box on a mature person, it looks like a cobra. It's not young and it doesn't work as well. So what I would do with this then is I'd start to either do a little tease, and I would come in with like a little bit of a push-pull, and I'd start to separate the hair and just have it be a little bit undone based on face shape. I would be looking at the depth of the hairstyle. Does the client need some height or not? I would be looking at where do I want to collapse it. So when you're looking at a hairstyle, you've got the length of the hairstyle, you've got the width of the hairstyle. But what you want to study is depth. And when Kelly and when Lindsay studied with me, we did a lot on where's the depth, where's the depth, where's the depth, in the relationship to the face shape. So if someone's starting to get fuller through here, or you've got a client with a very round face, or you've got a client who is a pear, narrow here, volume here, you're going to need to lift this out. But what you do want to do is keep it softer, right in there, and not do this, where the whole thing is like coming out here and becomes like this big old thing here. That makes it look really dated. See, when you do that? But when you bring that down, it needs to be deconstructed a bit. You bring that down around the face there, and then you start to lift here. It starts to change it so that this stays smaller, and then this becomes bigger. And you really want to create as many valleys and peaks as possible so that it starts to become, you know, a little bit undone. So the whole point of this is, this side for me would be either your very, very round face or your pear face shape. This would be for your mature client to take this haircut that you're seeing on the screen right now. It's exactly the same mannequin. This side here being raw and edgy and kind of undone and so on, very lived in. That's youthful. This side is your mature lady. So you're giving her that softness and that prettiness. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you, Lindsay and Kelly? Yep. Let me just bring you in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I love the part about the lifting and making it more airy, but not too big.
Airy and not too big, and making valleys and peaks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's very, very important. So does that make sense? You know, when you're layering, the hairstyle collapses down. when you can lift it inside, it makes a whole bunch of difference. Does that make sense to you?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it was a really good visual with the one side being youthful and going down and the other one lifting up.
Yes, yes, yeah. And Kelly, for you, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I like the visual a lot. I think it helps put more perspective on it.
So when you're coming into this realm here, you're closing the face down. So when you're closing the face down, and I'm just going to show you now with this little girl. So let me just show you here. Right. So around the face. On this side, this is your young girl. This is her kind of like undone. And this is the drag around the face. We don't make sure it's not too big there. So you remember when I said I vogue, I would want that just to be a bit bigger there and not too big here. So it's really coming down as opposed to building round. So I'm just bringing that down in there, making it small. The texture's, on the rawer side. And she's just got this, just this nice texture through here and all that movement. So that's that. But this side, this would be the side where, again, I would be opening the face. Because if you study here, this is closing down. So this would be like your curtain fringe, right? This side has been elevated up. We've opened out and we have the S shape here, the S shape. There are women that can take this drag and it looks absolutely amazing. There are women that need the lift, they need this, and they need this lovely movement through here. So I would, on a young look, I would be bringing it down. Only if the face can be closed down and that looks good. But for my mature client, I would be lifting it out through here. So for example, this has on this side a lot more movement and texture in here, and it's razor cut. Sometimes what I would do with something like this, when it's dry, I would take my blow dryer and a diffuser. And if I put hairspray in, it's going to be quite dramatic. So let's just do that and show you. If I put just a light hairspray through there, and I come in with my diffuser on low, and I come in and I scrunch, and I scrunch, and I scrunch, and I scrunch through. What starts to happen is you can see I'm getting a lot more movement in the hair by scrunching and getting that texture. Does that show well on camera? You see the difference? Yeah, you can. Okay. So what happens is that what I'm trying to do when you compare this of pulling down and you look at this being our client dragged, and this is the same mannequin, by the way, and this where we're opening the client up. It's a very, very, very different look as to what happens. So you see what happens is I lengthen this area here and I open up the jawline. Here I'm closing down. Here I'm making the eye look bigger. Here the eye looks smaller. So that's a huge thing. And obviously the higher I lift this, the longer I make the chin. The more I close this down, I shorten and I make it wide. So curtain fringes look amazing on very wide faces because you're closing, the curtains are closing the face down. Does that make sense, guys, what I'm saying? Yes? Is that helpful? So what I would like for you to do tomorrow is try, after you've done your hairstyle, diffuse it. You could do a mist of water in the air and diffuse, and it will be really, really quite lovely. So that's what I would like for you to try. So I'm just going to go back into Lindsay and Kelly again and just find out what was your learn there.
Go ahead. I like how just like a little tiny bit of movement in the hair can change the look of the whole look. So the face shape, the wideness, the slimness. So just little tiny changes you can keep the same style, but it makes all the difference in how it portrays.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So when we look here, our clients know their faces today better than most of us do because of the ability to take a selfie, right? But what we've got to understand is that when we're looking at the different face shapes and we're looking at where the volume is in the face, we either emphasize or we disguise it. So let's take a look here at these two fabulous actresses. Dame Judi Dench with her really short little haircut. What's really cute about that is that in her short haircut, it's choppy and it's not perfect. And what we've got is just hair that's a little bit relaxed and lived into, which I think makes it look really quite gorgeous. So when we take something like a pixie haircut, here she comes. Here she is. Hello. I like to do things like the fork technique, where I'll come in and I will like twist the hair, and I will twist, and I will twist. And if I do that with heat and the blow dryer, moving just very lightly over the head, I can start to just kind of make it look a little bit more funky. Now, obviously, on a younger client, she can really rock this, but to a certain degree, a little baby version of this can certainly work with your more mature client. So that what you're doing is you're starting to texturize it. So when you're looking at your pixie and you're looking at voguing around the face, which is what we always do, we look at, okay, when I take it back, it's a little harder. If I bring it down and have some softness through there, some softness coming through, that softens, and that line is in alignment with the cheekbone and it's in alignment with the jawline. So now I look at like, oh, what would happen if I make it small here? Small, small, small. So it's not too much of a round bubble. And what happens if I make it slightly asymmetric? What happens if I make it all sticky out on top? What will happen when I flatten it down? So as I flatten this baby down and I flatten her down, what happens to this hairstyle? So I have to, this is the rule. You don't pick up your tools until you've figured it out, right? So for some ladies, when you take their hair down super short and super tight, it can look too masculine. And if they don't have the neck for it, you've got to be very, very careful. And the other thing with more of your mature clients, leave a soft, wispy, pretty little nape. You know how many women I see with short hair that look like they're about to join the military? It's like, just because you can do a graduation haircut doesn't mean she should be wearing it. It needs to be soft, because what happens to the necks get wider as the face falls into the neck. I can't wait for that next phase. Oh gosh, I'll be lining up for my facelift, right? So, but it happens. So for your mature ladies, softness here. I believe for your mature ladies, softness here. Creating a very pretty head shape that can lift, but to make it look a little bit more modern, when you do start to fluff it up and give it a bit of texture and a little quirky, just as we have with this short, lovely little pixie on Dame Judi Dench, we have something amazing. And then again, if the color is right, that's these are two exciting haircuts that are so much better than those ladies that we were looking at before. So it goes back to this very, very important thing. In our consultation, our why is always before the how. We look at the 3 wheels of fashion. We look at face shape. We look at technique last. And that's a very important part of that. So with this lovely lady, she's just the same as the ones before. If you have trained your clients to think in inches, then that's the conversation. Oh, well, I'll be cutting a few inches here, and inch, 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 inch. And if you talk that way, that's what you're seeing. And while the length of a hairstyle is important, what's much more important is the shape and the depth around the hairstyle, the depth. So obviously, with my face shape, I do have an oval face shape, but when I'm talking to Rosemary, who cuts my hair, I say to her, you make sure you lift that there, right? Tell her that. I say, I want that razored. And then I say to her, make that razored too. Inside, you can cut it with scissors because I want structure inside because my hair's fine. And I want this here scruffy. I want this messy and scruffy so that I want pieces that are undone. I will diffuse my hair and then I will go through randomly with a curling iron. And then sometimes I do my push-pull around the place. Sometimes I dust it in. Sometimes I will just use hairspray. I use tons of oil in my hair. My husband said to me the other day, it was really quite cute. Actually, he's coming back tonight from England. Can't wait to see him. He's on a plane right now. He said to me, I don't know whether it shows now. Lindsay, do tell me, does it show? I put a lot of oil in my hair. Sometimes I have so much oil in my hair, I could actually polish the furniture. But the more oil I put in my hair, the more it shines. And I don't want that dry looking hair. So is it shining a bit? I put a lot of oil in.
It looks really healthy. Not too oily.
And also I'm a natural redhead, but obviously I'm faded. So this is pretty close to my natural color. And I don't want to be a vivid redhead. It would be inappropriate because, I am 67 years old, people. So, I can talk about old lady hair because I am one. and I want to look like a fabulous old lady. I want to be an inspiration to older women, right? And you can be attractive, right? So cool. So this lady, it was like, she said, I want this. I mean, that's just going to do that, right? It's just not going to be very good. And this was my concern. Because when we look at this lovely lady, and she's a fabulous lady, we can see it's in the neck, it's in the jawline. And I said to you, when a lady matures, her neck becomes wider. So you don't want to be buzzing off. And thank you guys for the lovely, kind compliments I'm getting there in the chat. So thank you. So what we want to do is we want to be able to elevate. So look at this strategically. When the face has the strength in it through here, these strong lines in the jawline, we need to make sure the line around the jawline is slowly lifting. So you can see when the jawline is very strong, it can be a flat square line. But as the jaw starts to collapse, you want to be able to give it some visual lift. And the other thing that's really important about the aging process is that you want to decide, and this is critically important, when you're looking at the neck, there's the ratio of eyebrow to forehead, eyebrow to nose, nose to chin, and then chin to the neck there, right? These have to be in proportion. And if they're not, the hair has to compensate for where there's a lack. So that's very, very important. But when you're looking at this area through here, you have to decide, do I want to hide it or do I want to lift it, right? But whatever you're doing, you want to have as much softness there as possible. So what I did with my lovely client, I actually took all of her hair off. and I just decided to lift it up. Number one, her hair was super, super fine. She has, I don't have a photograph of the side of it tonight to show you, but the nape area was very, very, very soft. And we went for this look. And again, easy wash and wear, and that's what makes the difference. So when we're looking at her hairstyle, as I mentioned before, you've got to recognize body type, apple, pear, or banana. Anything that touches the collarbone and downward is going to impact the body shape. Anything collarbone and above is going to impact the face shape. So then it begs to question, okay, when you're young and you've got a wide face, you can close down that face because there's a lot of real estate in the width of the face that's lifting. But I think as one gets maturer, and you can see that it's definitely some retouching in our more mature client, for me, I think it would be more appropriate if this length kissed her collarbone and it was just a little bit more layered. I think it would be much more appropriate because there's something that appears here to be hard. She's got long hair, but there's hardness there. Do you see that? And what also happens when you have long hair, from the nose to the corner of the mouth at the age of 45 starts to appear more prevalently. And then from 50 onwards, it becomes even more recessed. So that is a line that is moving down. And that line moving down notices more than the cheekbone that's moving up. So if you look at 35, 35 is cheekbone lifting, and then the area from nose to corner of the mouth is okay. As we age, we've got lines moving down and down. So when you close the face and the longer the hair, face shape wise, you start to age the face because the hair is moving downwards, closing, and it emphasizes the lines on the face. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah. Okay, so then when we look at the face shape, we could take Michelle Williams here, from the youthfulness of her plump face to a little bit more chiseled as she's matured. You can see in the very first image of the square bob, all the volumes around the lower part of her face where she looks a lot fuller. But when you look at, for example, her hair short, her jawline is completely different, and she's got the volume on the top of her head as opposed to the volume around the bottom. So when you look from a fashion perspective, you may be drawn to one image. When you look at this from a face shape perspective, you may have your favorite, just face shape wise. Which one is your favorite face shape? Now we look through the eyes of fashion, which is biased because fashion is always moving and changing. And then we look through the eyes of sensuality. There may be one shot that wins all three categories, I mean, for myself, I love the shot that is here, this shot here. I'm not sure you can see that. Let's see, this one here. Can you see that? Oh, no. It's the one in the black dress with the blonde hair. It is here in the upper left-hand corner, and then it appears left. To me, that shot wins all three prizes because it hits the category. But the thing is, what does that client really want? So what we have to find out from our consultation is, where do you live in fashion? How quiet or loud is that hairstyle going to be, and so on and so forth. So when we look at this hairstyle here, and we look at her just sort of soft and sort of undone and tucked, you know, this can certainly work very well on a younger person. Just a bit of a tuck, it's razor cut, it's soft, it's got a soft nape, it's a little scruffy through there. So this will work very, very well, obviously, on your younger client, just by the way, you know, products put into it. But if we want to now take this and think, right, how can I make this look fresh and appropriate for a mature client? How would I do that? So I'm going to just come through here now and start to see how I could kind of play with this and still honor the haircut, but think, right, okay, if this is a client now that is more on the maturer side, how am I going to make that work and how am I going to honor face shape? So, Lindsay, as I'm doing this, I'd just like to ask you some questions. You've been through a lot of training in your career. What for you makes my training so different to other people's training?
It's a lot more thorough. Like, I think that you look at the big picture more than like other people do. So, I mean, anyone can teach people a haircut, but you're teaching people how to put it on a person where it fits. It's like the whole story, not just the cut.
Mm-hmm. So you just recently did a boot camp with me yesterday, and we did editorial styling. Share with everybody, what we did and what your learn was, and how you will be able to use that in the salon.
Oh, we did it a lot. We looked a lot at the depth of the hairstyle, which is going to be helpful. Even going into hair cutting behind the chair and blow drying, really. We picked apart some setting techniques and like brush them out and then put them back in and just played around with like brushing out a set, but still making it be there. We played around with some hair extensions. We did a lot of looking at shapes and depth.
Yes, indeed we did.
It was fun.
And walk people through the journey of the editorial, sorry, my brain's going dead, the designer program.
So the designer program starts out really focusing on consultation and sensuality and learning to see the client as the person that they are. I like that it's a lot of foundational stuff at the beginning. So learning about the client, learning about the consultation, learning about just how to hold your scissors and your razor. And then you go into like just blow drying. Like it starts out super simple and then it gets a little bit more complicated, and then you start going into hair cutting, and then it's like an overview of hair cutting, and then you pick it apart even more. So it's super in depth and it covers a lot.
And how has it changed you as a hairdresser behind your chair?
Well, I'm having more fun for sure. And I think that I'm able to recommend different things now more than I ever was before. And looking at things differently, taking a step back and really, like you said, like before you even touch your tools, having a solid plan and a person that's going to fit them.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And
being more creative too.
And then and explain to everybody the experience of, you watch the videos, the whole protocol of the program, because it's very new. It's a very new way of learning versus the old method of learning, of going to a workshop, which I love. I host workshops here in my studio, but it's a totally different immersion, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, I think it's great because you watch the video, which also has an animation on it of like, if you pull the hair up here and you cut it like this, what it's going to look like when it falls. So, and then you do it live with Vivienne once a week. And then you've got to style it out and take photographs of it and edit those and post them. So it's like really taking like a simple or like a haircut and then making it better and better and better as you go along through the journey.
And then what about the video feedback and the feedback that you get in the forum? How helpful has that been for you?
That's great, because it really, every week posting and then getting feedback, it totally, like from the beginning to the end, I grew so much. I like that you really look at the detail.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So I've just taken a haircut that we would just do, that would be pretty for our guest who is younger. And now I'm going to start playing around with a little bit of a tease in here. And I'm going to tease this section and just give a little bit of a bump at the crown. It's amazing what a bump, ooh, come on, love, she's drunk. It's amazing what a bump at the crown can do. A little bit of texture, a little bit of a tease, a bit of hairspray, very light, and then coming in. And most of the time, to avoid the bubble, you want to work vertically with your blow drying and your curling iron. Anytime you come in, as I just did, horizontally, you create a totally different kind of volume into the hair, which is great, but it's it's a completely different experience in terms of going through. One of the things I always say to people is, your blow drying is important, but it's only as important as the great haircut that lives inside. And we've been so color focused for so long that I think haircuts have not been given their value. And really, a great haircut will show off an average color. But if you have a stunning color and you don't have a great haircut, that stunning color's just gone down a notch. Kelly, what are your thoughts about that?
No, I completely agree. As far as your cut and your color complementing each other is, it's makes or break. It's gonna make or break the whole look.
Yes.
So if you have a color with a not so great haircut or vice versa, you just kind of defeated yourself.
Yes, yes. So one of the things that I think is so important is using, why is she jiggling around? She's going to go out the window in a moment. One of the things that's so important is how you move the hair around looking at the mirror and just creating that lovely texture and having it. So it's this movement. So as I'm coming in, I'm moving it around and I'm not looking here, I'm looking there. And I'm always saying to people, stop, you haven't used your mirror, stop, put your tools down. How is it working? And then from a texture conversation, you've got to really look at, okay, texture wise, how do I make that look really amazing? And how do I make that look more undone? So when you undo a shape, it's got to be undone, but there still must be the shape there. So that's where the razor is the hero in any of this stuff, because you want the razor to give you the softness and all of the movement, and then just have that be like that. And again, in, not out. That is very, very, very important. So you can see she just has that lovely lift from the jaw. She has that lovely lift from here. And again, it's like it doesn't have to be perfect. Now, if she's mismatchy, then clearly that's going to be very important. But this is where I'll be going, okay, so how does it look when I tuck it behind the ear? Will that look more modern and more chic, just a little tuck? But remember, the moment you start tucking, you bring in severity. Yes, you bring in lift, but what you want to do is make sure that anything that's just going to be falling around, it's that shape and not a big bubble. Does that make sense for you guys? Yeah? Good. So I teach more than a haircut. I teach patterns to success. And I think that's what's so important, looking at the patterns to success. One of the things I do is I help people build their brand. And when you look at these really great images from Misty Walker, who's been in the training program, she's now going through the designer program for the 3rd year. And it's amazing. So many people say, Viv, what, a year? Yeah, because we just take baby steps and we have so much fun, right? So I show you how to build your brand. I show you how to stand out from the crowd, how to take great images of your work so that you can get the type of client you want sitting in your chair. You see, at the end of the day, if you don't have a photograph of what your dream clients are, if you don't have photographs of your dream looks, how will they know to come to you? How will they know that? It's so important that your social media is your voice, it's your brochure, and you are the one that can promote yourself in that really profound way. So we're looking at taking great images, how to regain confidence if you feel like you've lost it. Sometimes things happen where it just like knocks our confidence and we need help to build it back up again. Lindsay spoke tonight about increasing in income and the value behind the chair. And how much did you say the salon is up this year, Lindsay?
150% from last year.
That's incredible. Yeah. To become more creative and get off the assembly line, Lindsay was speaking about that earlier. Stronger technical skills that result in a happier you, as well as, of course, as a happier client. So my training does help you in terms of accelerating, because we've had stylists work with us who are very experienced, and 30 years later, they're only now making a 6-figure income. So I've been able to help stylists who've been years in the industry, doing what they've been doing, getting tired in the industry, and within 10 months, I've helped them hit a 6-figure income that has not happened prior to that, which is pretty awesome. It's really great. It makes me feel so proud of the students. So you don't have to wait decades for the results. So I know there are some of you here tonight that have been in the program, and it's great to see you here. I appreciate that. And I think it's important to stay connected, because you don't have to wait. And like all things, it's about staying in training, isn't it? You've got to stay in training. And consequently, you want to be able to make more money in less time. And I think that's another very important part of this. So what I'd like to invite you to do tonight is book a coaching call. In that coaching call, all you got to do is book the appointment, and we will find out where you are. We will look at what goals you have, and we will design a program to suit you, your time, your budget, whether it wants to be color focused, whether it wants to be styling focused, haircut focused. Where do you want to go? How much time do you want to devote to give to yourself so you can give to other people, right? So I encourage you tonight to book your call, because I'm curious to know, what plans do you have for 2024? What are you going to do with your education? Are you going to invest now for tomorrow? It's very, very important to know, because at the end of the day, all of my training covers these things. These are the mistakes I see so many hairdressers make. Number one is not knowing how to design to a face shape. And tonight we focused on hair. We looked tonight at when is it appropriate to wear your hair long, and when is it not appropriate to have your hair as long as you would think, because when is it aging versus having hairstyles that are softer. So for example, when we look at these two gorgeous images here, obviously there's one that's soft and fluffy and one is calm and more sophisticated. But when you look at the hair that's kind of calm and sophisticated and more polishy, the features look sharper. When you look at the hairstyle that's got a little bit more fluff and softness, the features look softer. So at the end of the day, we know that we're working on a mature lady, and beauty comes at every single age. It does. We just want to honor the age and make that client feel gorgeous. Conversely, when you've got your younger clients, be playful, be creative, be edgy in how you dress out their hair, and have a lot of fun, because you can take a basic haircut and do so many creative things with it. Design to personality. I can train you how to recognize personality and design to the personality. How to understand where that client lives in fashion. Is she rock and roll? Is she classic? No judgment about either. We just have to meet the client in the landscape where she lives. Designing to sensuality. There is sexy, there is sensual, there is romantic, there's androgynous. Do you know how to design to that sensibility? Because that is huge, huge, huge. So as we're kind of finishing up here, let me just show you this little look here. And we got my little girl here. So when we're looking at, she can't see a thing. When we're looking at our younger clients, it's about, maybe some peekaboo color. Because then we have clients, young clients saying, oh, but doesn't short hair make you look old? You're damned if you do and damned if you don't, right? It's about great fashion and style, right? So here, for example, this is a cute little short haircut. It's razor cut. It's very short. Now, I would never do I mean, I know this is mannequin, but I would never do a short back like this on a mature lady. Never. I would always have it softer, 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 and pretty on the neck. This is for a lovely, thin, young neck, slim neck. You don't want hard lines on a mature neck. You want everything soft and a little bit deconstructed so that you don't draw attention to lines, as in facial lines. When you're looking at your younger clients, what you can do that makes it modern and fresh. So you can see here with this hairstyle, you see again the lift. It's not a box. And the weight line is sitting snug here, and that's where the weight is here. So this is incredible on round faces, pear-shaped faces. Oval can wear anything, clearly, but even a square face, because you've got the asymmetry and you've got it built up here. So tomorrow, when you're working on your guests, take their hair away from the face and start to vogue around the face. So for example, if I vogue here this way, we can see a very strong fringe. And I can see what happens when I come up and when I come down. But what if I do this around the face and I look at it jagged and I look up and I look down and I look at how that changes the face shape versus asymmetric. And I start to make my hand be the shape of the hair, or I fake it with the hair. So I'm trying to rehearse and show the client what's going to happen to her face shape. And that's how I'm able to take so much hair off of clients and do some really pretty amazing things. So tonight you've got a couple of options. You've got two options, right? The first option is you can take this information and go out on your own. And I hope you took notes tonight. I hope you share this information with your friends tonight, and you can do it on your own. But one thing I can guarantee, if you do it with me, I will take you a whole lot further, a whole lot further. So we can work together to achieve your goals. So rather than me just say, right, sign up for the course, I'm going to say, no, no, no. I want you to book a coaching call. So you can go to my website and you'll see there a link that says to book a call. And also, if you notice in the chat, I'm just going to come in here and just show this. You can actually go here and copy this link. It's in the chat. And you can fill out a little application form where you can tell us a little bit about yourself, which is great. And let us help you. Let us help you. So it's about making that important call, which could be transformative in your life. It's a coaching session, establish new goals, and we'll take you on your success path. So the question is, why do many fail? Because a lot of people do fail in our industry, and they don't need to fail. And very often I feel that they're in the old way, not the new way. And the old way is the old way. And I'm all about looking at new ways to take you and to guide you. So in 10 years' time, will you just be an older version of yourself? Or will you have transformed your skills? So you may be asking, how long will this take for me to learn? Well, it depends where you are and where you want to go. That's why we like to do a coaching call. Many people are asking, how can I stay accountable? Well, we're here to support you. This is not just like a YouTube video. This is an actual coaching program where we talk to you. And it's just amazing because there are live experiences and there is the online learning. Does my age matter? To learn the designs and mapping process when I already developed my own style. Add to what you know. And age does not matter. I've had people in my program who have been 18, and the oldest person in my program has been in their 70s. He showed up every single week for the designer program, and it was pretty amazing. Our fabulous Stan. So age is of no consequence. It's more about how hungry you are to learn. I've always specialized in as a colorist. Will this work for us? Well, you know what? If you're a colorist and you want to expand your skills, go for it, right? I've never been able to master the art of a consultation. Great. We can help you, right? And what if my creativity has been lost? Well, then we're here to help you. If you're scared of cutting hair short, we can help you. And basically, we're here to help you every step of the way. So these are some of the many questions that you have been asking that we address. So did you know the average person will spend 2 hours a day on social media, which equals 30 days of the year? I want to ask you, what are your results from being on social media? I enjoy it. I go there. But has it transformed your business? Has it increased your skills? Or could you take some of that time and immerse in a training program that would be profound, right? So our method is you watch the videos, you join a live class, and then you get photographic feedback on your work. It's a 1, 2, 3 process. So when I see you on screen, here's an example of our folks on the screen. I'm watching them work. And then feedback on your work. And this is fabulous Sarah's work that she did. And we have a vast library of education. I have probably now almost 2,000 videos. We've been in business now for 20 years. We were the first ones to enter the online space. So yeah, it's a lot of good stuff, right? The most important thing is your learning is actually accelerated, because how many of you have been to a workshop that you've loved? I've hosted many a workshop. And then when you leave, you almost forget what you learned, and you go back to the salon and you don't even remember anymore, right? It doesn't happen with this process because it's a new way of learning. So what I will do is I'll help you climb the ladder to success. And we will start off with your coaching call. So let's now start planning next year. Let's start putting some dates in the calendar, whether you're going to come to me here at in my studio for live, whether you're interested in doing editorial, whether you're interested in doing hair cutting. As I mentioned, we've got lots of different courses that help and serve you. So it has to be designed to you. So all you need to be is interested to want to learn and not be alone. Enjoy the journey. Be with people that are fabulous, like Lindsay and Kelly, who love to learn and who are excited. So I just want to encourage you to book a call. And I also just want to bring my friends back in here to thank them for being with me tonight. An end message. Lindsay, what would you like to say to our friends who are watching tonight to inspire them?
Invest in yourself. You won't regret it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Kelly, what would you like to say to our friends tonight?
I would say the same as Lindsay. Invest in yourself, invest in your education so that you feel more confident as a stylist and your clients feel more confident in you as your stylist, as you being them, whatever, you know what I mean? Them being your guest and then you being their stylist. I can't talk.
That's okay, my love. Yes, you are. You're doing a great job. So guys, thank you so much tonight. Kelly, thank you so much. Congratulations on all you're doing in this industry. You're making a difference. I appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Lindsay, it's always an honor and a delight to have you. It's been such a blessing to watch you grow, and it's just awesome. And I just want to thank you for being here, and congratulations on your great achievements with your salon. I would imagine most people here would like to be able to just say it one more time because it's so inspiring. Your salon's increased their business by
150%.
150%. That is just so awesome. So congratulations. Guys, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this evening. I hope it's going to really help you with beauty at every age. Let's honor every age because every age is beautiful. Join me. I hope you're going to join me this year, certainly next year. And thank you so much for watching. And please share this information with your friends and let them know what we're doing. So tonight, I'm going to challenge you. Make 3 calls to 3 people, send them this link so that they can watch this presentation, and let's raise the bar and the standard in our industry. And I want to say thank you to all my blondes that are in the house, right? Thank you, good night, and bye-bye.